For the first time ever now, the US polls have shown that more Americans sympathize with Palestinians than they do Israelis, dramatically in many different demographic groups as well as political parties. So let's just go through the poll. This is pretty interesting, and it goes to show no matter how much of the mainstream media the pro-Israel mafia tries to buy out, no matter how much they try to skew the algorithms, no matter how much they try to change up these AI generated summaries, no matter what they do, people are finally waking up enough to actually look through all the BS and recognize what's really going on. So I'm going to actually pull up the actual poll and not just show you this, X summary of the thing. Here's the actual poll. Israelis no longer ahead in Americans' Middle East sympathies. And for those who don't know, Gallup is one of the most famous pollsters. They do a lot of polls consistently. They do really good polls when it comes to their methodology and everything. So Gallup polls are pretty well trusted in that respect. And it tells you the statistical significance and everything else there. So I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through it. Independent sympathies shift towards Palestinians in past year. So if we look here, and let me make sure you can see the whole poll. So let me zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to re-add it back on screen. There we go. So if you see here, for the first time now, we have Palestinians with 41% sympathies and Israelis with 30%. Again, this is for independent voters. And I was surprised. I was honestly thinking it was going to be a little bit more, but maybe I am in my own bubble here. But again, regardless, this right here is not based on age, so that's pretty interesting. So let's keep scrolling down, and then we're gonna go to here. This is Democratic sympathies. Of course, Democratic sympathies towards Palestinians is at 65% in 2026, and 17% for Israelis in 2026. Republican sympathies. Now, this is interesting because you're looking at this and you're like, wow. Republican sympathies towards Israelis is at 70%. That's pretty shocking. I thought that was pretty shocking, but I am going to show you the age breakdown. And of course, Republican sympathies for Palestinians is at 13%. Now, it doesn't show the age breakdown by party. It does show the age breakdown across all parties. And across all parties, age breakdown 53% support Palestinians from 18 to 34, 23% support Israelis. Here's the thing, though. Previous polls have shown breakdown by party as well, party and age at the same time, which I found was really interesting. And if you look at the breakdown by age in the Republican Party, at the 50 and under Republicans, about 50% of them have a negative view of Israel, have an unfavorable view. That's 50 and under, meaning that Republicans 50 and older are probably so high up in the 80s, 90s towards support for Israel that they screw the graph so much further in that direction. If you look at Republicans under the age of 30, it's in the 70s, unfavorable view of Israel. So there's a massive demographic change there by age, even among not just Democrats, but also Republicans. And I'm still pretty shocked because I thought, honestly, on the Republican side, it was going to be a lot higher. I didn't necessarily think they were going to it might not have been more sympathies towards the Palestinians, but I simply just thought that there would be such an unfavorable view of Israel. We would see things be a little bit different. However, regardless, it's pretty insane. So let's keep going through the rest of it. Israel's favorability drops as Palestinian territories rises, meaning the Gaza and the Israeli-occupied West Bank. So favorable view of Palestinian territories versus Israel. So right now, still, Israel is viewed better than the Palestinian territories. So 46% have a favorable view of Israel. 37% have a favorable view or mostly favorable view of the Palestinian territories. I'm going to be honest. I thought I was pretty shocked. After looking at this. I thought it would be higher. The Palestinian territories, of course, the Palestinian Authority is the question wording here. So, still though, look at the massive change over time. It means that people are waking up. The things that we say online, what people are really learning about, it actually does make a difference. Next, I'd like your overall opinion on foreign countries. What is your opinion of the party? And even still, look at the drop. From in 2025, 84% of Republicans had a positive or a favorable view of Israel. In 2026, that number has now went down to 69%. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. They're not going to recover from this. This is the thing. They're not going to recover from this. And, what's funny is they're doing everything opposite to what you would want to be doing if you're trying to regain all of this. Oh, actually, I was about to bring that up, and Alice, one of the commenters here, said, "Republican Party lost my whole family because of this shitty war. We are now libertarian." So, thanks for commenting, Alice. This is exactly what I was gonna say. Is that right now we have all of these neocons that are aggressively pushing for this war with Iran, and unfortunately, it seems like everything on the table, everything on the map shows that that's where we're headed with war with Iran. Israel, imagine what the day after, when that happens, where Americans' views towards Israel are going to be. They're going to flatline at that point. They're going to flatline. If Americans get killed and they end up dying for Israel, moving forward, American support for Israel will continue to flatline, and you're not going to be able to recover that. But by that point, though, Israel doesn't seem to care because they know Netanyahu, his Likud party, the Mossad. They know that Iran is the last big behemoth. It's been Israel's biggest wishes to take out for the past 50, 40 since the Islamic Revolution that took over Iran. That's been their big wish. That's been what they've always wanted to take out. And now they've finally taken off every other country off the chopping block. Libya, Syria, Iraq, everything, you name it. And now all that's left is Iran. They have this final war, and Americans are fed up. Americans are fed up. But if Israel gets that war, how much more is American support going to be as necessary as it was prior? Because that was one of the main catalysts. So this, unfettered support, well, at least we took out the last final massive enemy, the massive true existential threat to Israel. The last one, it's finally going to be gone. That's what they're hoping. And it's only going to flatline American support more. Now, here's the thing that Israel is not considering, or I'm surprised. Maybe they're too short-sighted. Maybe they're too stupid. Netanyahu, the Likud party, I'm not really sure, is that there's a lot more to countries than just having a large military and being able to take out countries. And also, U.S. sanctions are a pretty big deal. U.S. sanctions, having diplomatic cover by the United States, is a really big deal. And right now, the only reason that the world hasn't sanctioned Israel is largely in part due to the United States. There have been attempts to take action against Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, like Ireland. I've made a video on that. What did the United States do? We started threatening Ireland. Now, right now, the Israelis think that they can keep getting away with this because who gives a damn about public sentiment? Who cares about the American citizens? As long as the actual American politicians support Israel, then they don't care. They don't care. American citizens can think whatever they want as long as they're pulling money out of their pockets and giving it to Israel via taxpayer dollars. Then the Israelis do not give a damn. But what they don't recognize is that eventually, and it takes a long time, so we just kind of have to hang in there and believe that it's going to happen. Eventually, public sentiment shifts to policy. And eventually, we're going to start electing people. And I think I'm looking forward to midterms. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see. Eventually, policy is going to actually shift. And I think we're going to start to notice that in midterms, it's not going to be 100% at all. I think even on the left and the right, we're going to notice a shift during midterms. And we're going to start to see, maybe at least right now we have 95% of people in Congress incredibly supportive of Israel. Maybe that number is going to change after midterms to 85% or 80%. Who knows? Or maybe it just goes down maybe 5%. We get maybe just 10 more lone voices that are really critical. I still think that's a win because the tides are shifting. Might take 5 years, but it's going to shift. It's going to shift, and we're already starting to see it shift. Now, Israel knows that. They know that. They know that things are shifting. They know that midterms are coming up in the United States. They know all of this. So because they know all of this, they're trying to get everything done now. They want to annex the West Bank now. They want to kick the Palestinians out now. They want to go to war with Iran now. They're acting like a rabid dog. And I think they're going to bite more than they can chew. I think that they're going to bite more than they can chew. And we're seeing this in the angst, in the concern, in the fear that all of these political commentators like Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, all the likes are really spewing out there, consistently talking about just drooling for this war, wanting it so badly, really just wanting it as badly as possible, as quickly as possible, because they know they're losing the Americans. They're losing the Americans. And they also recognize that when they lose the Americans, they're not going to be able to regain them. It's too much cat's out of the bag. You can't regain American support once Americans recognize that Israel has been one of the largest has been the number one reason Americans have been fighting wars in the Middle East was on behalf of Israel. Once people recognize that, you can't undo that recognition. You can't undo it. So, pretty interesting stuff. Let's see if there's anything else here. Also, I didn't mention this. American support for independent Palestinian state, interestingly enough, is also at its highest it's ever been. Highest it's ever been. Let's see, back in 2003. Okay, so the last time it's been this high was back in 2003, which was at 58%, and the lowest was back in 2015 at 42%. It looks like 2000 it was also at 40%. So anyways, it's at 2003 was the highest. So since then, it's at 57% now, and I also think that this is going to go up now. What's interesting, though, is that in Gaza, occupied West Bank, and Israel, those numbers are now floating around 25-30%, maybe around 25% for support on both sides. I talked to a lot of Palestinians. A lot of them just don't believe that anything good's going to happen. And then Israelis just absolutely don't want a Palestinian state. They don't want them to exist at all, clearly. So here's the support for a Palestinian state by party breakdown: Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. So what we're seeing here is that Independents, they're actually the highest they've ever been for support, as well as Democrats. And then Republicans, they're at 33% now. So it really hasn't seemed like it's changed much. It seems like it's been kind of steady straight through the middle between 30 and 40. That's it for now. We'll see how things unfold moving forward. Let me know your comments let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it, guys, if you click the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up as well. Helps me reach more people like you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.